Welcome to the SACNAS very first community college meeting. Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Katerina and I will be your moderator. For those who never heard about SACNAS, I wanted to share a little bit with you. At SACNAS, we celebrate science and culture equally. Your unique identity and experiences are an integral part of everything we do. In all SACNAS programs, we encourage you as a participant to represent who you are as a scientist and as a person. We also create space for mentorship and community. We know that mentorship and supportive relationships are critical to continue your education in STEM. Thus, the goal for this meeting is to build and cultivate community network within SACNAS. We want to establish this platform for you to stay connected with one another and be supported by our extensive national network. Here at SACNAS, you are surrounded by people who want to engage and learn about you. They have been where you are now and they want to help you to get to the next level. With that said, I would like to introduce our 4 community college professionals who will be leading this community meeting. Please welcome Maria Mercedes Franco, Annette Garcia, Nicole Traeger, and Sharons Rivera. They are all incredible SACNAS mentors who share something in common: passion to provide the best support for community college students. So before we get started, I wanted to let you know that in the first part of this meeting, you will be asked to participate. After that, I would kindly ask you to submit your questions in the chat box, and I will read them accordingly once we get to the Q&A section of this meeting. So I will let Dr. Franco talk about the norms for this meeting.
Thank you. I want to thank you for inviting us, my colleagues from other community colleges and I, to be part of this important mission of SACNAS, which is reaching out to and building community with the students from community colleges in particular. So we're very happy to be here. Welcome to all the students to this first community meeting. And as Katerina was saying, since we want to build community and we want this community to be tailored to you, your needs, your priorities. So we want to make sure that we have some norms in this community that make us all feel welcome, safe, and that will also guide how we interact with one another. So a norm that we as a group want for our own group could be anything, and it could be very simple. I'm just going to start with one, which I think you should always practice no matter where you are, whether it's a face-to-face community or a virtual community like the one we're building today. That norm is to have respect. Respect yourself and respect others. So like that, you can come up with other suggestions of what should be our norms for our community here with SACNAS. So I invite all of you to start sending suggestions either through the chat. I don't know if Katerina can keep track of that, or you can just speak up and then give us your suggestions. We will need somebody to take notes, by the way, and I am prepared to do so, but just in case, if we have more than one note taker, that will be good. So I'm gonna write my first norm, which is respect, and that means respect yourself and also respect others. Anybody wants to suggest norms for our group? I don't know if everybody's muted or...
Someone mentioned don't use your phone during this workshop.
Okay. Oh, those are the suggestions. Yeah, I see. Thank you. We're keeping those, right? Oh.
Someone said be happy.
Yes. You want to read, Katerina? Good.
I can, yeah.
Open-minded, good.
Use professional language at all times. Assume positive intent. Another norm could be not to be afraid to speak out for help. Be open-minded.
These are all wonderful.
And they're coming up pretty quick.
Yes.
Listen to others. Respect other opinions. Respect and dignity. Give your attention at all times.
Very nice.
Don't tell yourself or other that you should do something.
Mm-hmm.
Be mindful of others' safety.
Very good. I want to add one, since everybody is contributing through the chat. Give a space and take a space. So you belong here, and so do others. So make sure you give a space and also take a space. Oh, we have plenty. This is wonderful.
Be confident, be optimistic. Be mindful of your words.
I just want to make sure we're able to keep all of these wonderful contributions.
Respect all. Help yourself and others. Reach out and connect with your distant family, relatives.
Oh, I like that, yeah. So usually when we're building community, you put together all those norms that were created by the members of that community, and then you keep them always at reach so that you can refer to them, you can be reminded, you can read them, reread them. You can also revisit them if you see the need to. I want to make sure we will have access to the chat. Do we need to save that information now? I'm not sure if it will be safe.
We will have it.
Okay, okay, good. So perfect. So we will have all of these suggestions compiled, and we'll have a document that represents our community's norms, and in a sense also the standards and the guidelines that we all wish to follow. Anybody has more suggestions before we continue then with today's activities?
Be mindful when you ask something to others. Be in the present moment.
Excellent.
Thank you all for participating, by the way.
These were wonderful. These are wonderful suggestions, and we will embrace them, and we will remind each other that we stand by those norms, and we will follow them, and we will honor them. Yeah, thank you, everyone. New one came in.
Don't belittle others for not knowing the answer to a question. Great, thank you. Thank you all for participating. So now Ms. Annette Garcia would like to share tips on how her students stay motivated and excel their studies during shelter-in-place order.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Katerina, for first of all, reaching out to us to get this workshop created for all of our STEM students for our community colleges. And so again, my name is Annette Garcia, and I'm the director of the STEM Script program at Cypress College. Do I see any STEM scholars from Cypress? Raise your hand. Woohoo! Thanks for coming. So like Katerina said, I'm gonna just really give you some encouragement and some practical tips of how to stay motivated during this time. But before I do that, I just really wanna take some time to applaud all of you STEM majors for persevering through your classes during this time. And overall, it's hard for all of us, but being a STEM major and then taking these classes and then shifting, going through all these changes, my hat's off for all of you. And so I just really want to applaud you, let you know that I'm very proud of all of you for, staying in the grind and doing the best that you can during this time. Also, I want to take time to address our fall 2020 transfers. Most of you have already received your admissions letters from the different universities. And I know during this time, it's your last semester, for many students, I think you can get a little lax. Students can get a little lax. I know most of you are in STEM programs with the MESA programs and STEM Squared. And so we obviously have requirements. And I think for a lot of students, it's very easy to say, well, you know what, it's my last semester, I'm already admitted. And there could be a tendency of, I don't have to really complete the requirements, I'm still transferring. But I just really want to remind all of you, remember what you started. Initially, when you got admitted to these programs, most of you signed a contract. I'm in 100%. I'm going to finish my workshops. I'm going to finish my counseling appointment. And I just want to remind you all of that first semester when you enter these programs. And of course, we want for you to finish successfully. I personally want to give all of your STEM sashes, and your pins and everything. We've seen you struggle throughout the years. And we've seen you fly high at the same time. So I just really want to encourage you to stick to it. For all of you students, this last semester, give it all you got, okay? And it is a character thing. It's gonna take you a long way. Finish what you started. Keep that in mind. It's gonna go with you everywhere you go. So now I'm going to go over some of the tips. And I think for some of you, these might sound a little basic, but I promise you, if you apply these, it's gonna go a long way for you. So the first one I wanna mention is really setting small daily goals. And it's gonna make a significant difference in your activity and productivity. Make a short list of manageable tasks to get through every single day. So whatever the priorities are for that day, just make sure you write those down, put them on your iPhone and your calendar, whatever that's good, that you use to help you. Set your schedule and stick to it. That could be simple as getting dressed in the morning, getting out of those PJs, scheduling when you're gonna work, scheduling a time when you're gonna study, when you're gonna relax. So all those things can help manage a healthy work-life balance. So we all know Netflix is available, 24/7 now? And for some of you and all of us, it could be like, okay, I'm gonna take a little break. And so a 15-minute break turns into, it could turn into what? A 3-hour or 4-hour break. So just keep that in mind. I know my friend has a timer that he purchased, and it really sets time for, okay, so 3 hours, I'm gonna go straight for 3 hours or 2.5 hours, sets a timer, goes off, and then goes on for a break, takes a walk. I know for me, my phone's what's been helping me stay on track. And just different things, right? That's whatever's gonna help you stay on track. Setting a clear workspace for yourself, wherever that's gonna be, if it's gonna be in your room or another room, making sure your room is clear, that it's not cluttered. That also definitely helps. Another one is making time to connect with your friends. So important during this time. I know for me personally, during the first 2.5 weeks of working from home, things started getting a little funky. I was like, what's going on? And I was feeling a lot of stress personally. And I was like, you know what? I haven't really called many people like I usually do. So that really helps. Being intentional about connecting with your friends during the week is very important. Make sure you plan some like happy hours on Fridays, Zoom happy hours, or evening virtual game nights on Saturdays. Helps. Another really important one is prioritizing your mental health. So important. Staying motivated can be near impossible when you're dealing with anxiety and stress. So what could help with some of that is moving a bit each day, take an online yoga class or Zumba, eat balanced meals, making sure that you're drinking your water every single day, not staying up till 2 o'clock in the morning, maintaining a normal sleep schedule, and allowing time for, okay, TV and social media, that's fine, but also making sure that you're reducing the time that you spend listening to the pandemic news, because obviously that can add stress sometimes. If you're struggling and need to talk to someone, just know that the resources are out there. Obviously, we have our student health services at every community college. You have your counselor, you have coordinators, directors in these programs that you're in right now. Make sure that you make the most out of those opportunities, because obviously we're here for you. And just know, we all know that not every day is going to be highly effective. And you know what? That's okay. Give yourself some grace. No one has a normal life right now. And so when you hit those walls, just make sure that you prioritize like what you need to do to get through each day. And just know that this time shall pass. Staying motivated can be tricky. However, you can help make it easier for yourself by setting realistic schedules. And, you know, again, we are here for you. Keep doing your best, you know, stay in the grind, you know, finish successfully. And again, I give you all credit for, you know, sticking to finishing the semester strong. So those are my words of encouragement to you all, and I hope it helps.
Thank you, Annette, so much. And our amazing students were writing the suggestions, just started doing yoga, and they feel great now. Meditate, some advices from students as well. For students who might feel disconnected from their instructors, peers, and school in general, Dr. Rivera has some suggestions for you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dr. Sharons Rivera, and I am so beyond happy to be here connecting with you all and being in community. So thank you so much. I have a PhD in physical chemistry, so I went the traditional science route, and then realized that community college students are so my jam. And I love supporting students to transfer and to earn their bachelor's degree in the STEM discipline. I am the Math, Engineering, Science Achievement Program Director and a chemistry instructor at Tacoma Community College. And Tacoma is in Tacoma, Washington, and I have a fun picture of Mount Rainier behind me, which is actually the view we get from our building at work. So I decided to put that there for all of us. Let's see. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about communicating with your instructors and communicating with your peers to stay motivated, because staying connected with each other is one of the best ways that we can stay motivated, right? And I get to do that too. I get to make sure that I'm excited to go to work every day, which right now is just like this, on the computer, having office hours with students, recording videos to give lectures, connecting in our Mesa chat rooms, right? To make sure that students really feel that we're still there for them, because we are. So let's see, I want to second some of the things Annette said about setting up your schedule. Super, super important. And also making time to connect with your friends. One of the most important things you can do is take care of you and yourself in this time. Then you're able to actually devote some of that energy to the schooling and the course content that you're trying to tackle online. So also, please communicate with your faculty. Ask for support when you need it. Don't wait. If you're reading something online and it's not making any sense, either reach out if you're using Canvas or Blackboard and post right away and say, I don't understand this module, this content, this concept. And hopefully what can happen is the instructor will either connect you with a group of students who are working on something, set up some extra materials for you to study, or we might even set up some time for you to connect online with the instructor. If you have a question, I Pinky Swear promise you, other students have that same question. Another thing is to advocate for yourself when you're communicating with your instructors. If nobody's home environment is really conducive to the same things we used to do at work or at school, right? Just now I can hear all sorts of child music and banging and the dog, right? So advocate for yourself for what you need. And don't be afraid to reach out to people like myself, right? Or people who are in your school that run the programs at your school to advocate on your behalf. Advocating for yourself takes energy. We're here to help do it for you, right? So reach out and say, I'm having a problem either getting an answer from this instructor, nobody's writing me back, I don't know what I'm doing, right? And I've done it in the past, or I've written to an instructor on behalf of a student saying, hey, this problem is happening, how can I help you to correct this, right? Because I get to be a bridge between the students and the faculty to support that communication. Let's see. Online teaching is not the same as in-person teaching. And the majority of the folks who are now teaching online, it's a new skill for them, right? So they're learning this new 100% online skill as they're teaching you this in this online environment. So one of the things you can do is to log in regularly. Perhaps they'll post some new stuff. It also helps you stay on schedule. Like it was said earlier, create your schedule, stay on schedule. You'll want to connect with classmates via groups. So either make your own groups or connect via Zoom or make some connections in that way. And there's so many comments coming in. I love it so much. Thank you. Let's see. Online tutoring. So some schools have moved their in-person tutoring to online. Use that online tutoring if it's there. There are also some schools that have outsourced their online tutoring because they're not able to provide that kind of in-person support. So they're using an outside company to provide that online tutoring. Use that online tutoring. Go to your instructor's office hours. And if you can't make it, you tell them, I can't make it, I need an appointment. They will hopefully either give you that appointment or make another set of office hours so you and other students can join as well. And speaking with my teacher hat on, I personally will do whatever I can to support students in my class. So I can only do that if you tell me what's going on. And you don't have to give me all the details, right? But you can say, hey, I can't make it for whatever reason, I need a different option. And if there's a lot of pushback, or if you're not getting any feedback from that instructor, you can always then go talk to your faculty, staff, or community advocate to help them navigate that relationship. I also think it's really important to reflect, right? So as you're going along in this quarter, as you're finishing up, what worked well for you this quarter and what didn't. That way you can take it into the future, because we're not really sure what's going to happen. But there's some things that worked really, really well for you this quarter. I know that there's some things that worked well for me, and there's some things that have not been going too good. So I'm trying to change as I'm going along, and learn from that process. Let's see. Also, take the time that you need to care for yourself and your loved ones, and the people that you care about, because this is not how anybody planned to end this school year, right? So give yourself grace, and know that we appreciate you and we care about you, and we are proud of you. one of the best ways that you can communicate with your instructors is either through the messaging through Canvas or Blackboard, or the online teaching program that you're using, or an email. Okay. And when you're writing to the instructor, you're going to want to make sure that you tell them who you are, right? So they want to know who you are and what class you're writing from, because they're probably teaching more than one class. Then they're going to want to know why you're writing. I'm having a problem with significant figures. I'm having a issue understanding stoichiometry. Then what is your request from them? So you're going to want to say, I need to set up an appointment with you via Zoom, and give them some dates. Say, I'm available Monday, May 4th from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. and Tuesday, May 5th from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. That way they can reply to you and say, great, here's some information on stoichiometry. We'll talk about that when we have our appointment. Here's a link, here's a time, and there's not a whole lot of back and forth, so everybody gets what they need immediately. I think what I want to end with is giving yourself space to grow and learn, and to be gentle with yourself, right? Just like we were typing in the community norms, to be joyful and be confident, right? Like, give that to yourself as well. So thank you. And there's so many awesome things in the group chat. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Sharon. And thank you everyone for providing your personal suggestions via chat. So now let's take some questions from the group. It's a good time to type up your questions in the chat. Dr. Traeger will address your questions. And so, very first question that I have to Dr. Nicole Traeger or to any other panelist is, one student said that I'm hoping to learn about ways maximize my work ethic during times where procrastination gets the better of us. What suggestions you might have for students?
I would say yes. Most of the questions, a lot of the questions I was looking through were about procrastination. And I'd like to go back to what Annette had said, and where she said, make very small attainable goals per day and make a list. And that really helps me with procrastination, so I can visually see what I need to do for the day. And if it doesn't get done today, it just piles up for tomorrow. And really, I really want to emphasize those small goals. Like, so for instance, my to-do list today is, I had to wake up, and then I worked out, and then I commuted to work for me, which might be something you want to include in your day to help stay motivated. Is my commute time for me is really where I can spend some time just digesting the day, and I put on some music and get ready for the day, and then I get to work. So then some of my to-do list is really, I had to tackle my emails. I have a list of meetings I'm going to today. I have some things I need to do for to keep my online classes going. And these are all like small checklists. Now, in the big scheme of things, there are big goals, like, I have grants due and things like that, but that's not necessarily on my day-to-day list. If I need to do something for a big grant, or you think for you as students for a big paper, think about, okay, today I need to outline for that. Don't just put write grant or write paper or study for a test. What is a small goal that you can do? Today you can make flashcards for your exam, and tomorrow you can study those flashcards. So break things down. Okay. I'm seeing lots of things about relaxing, lots of suggestions about working out, doing yoga, Wii Sports. This was one that I bought a Wii a month and a half ago, when we went on lockdown, and it's been really great to connect with the people in my household, but then be active. We've been doing a lot of archery and a lot of bowling. So it's been really great. And Just Dance, I agree. I've been doing Just Dance and DDR. We have DDR pads and Black Eyed Peas Experience. That might be a little too old for you guys, but it's been really great. So yes, taking that time and putting that kind of stuff on your to-do list as well, so that you have a little bit of a mental break. What other questions do people have? Lots of people are doing Animal Crossing. I haven't gotten into that yet. Yes. Okay. So one person said the hardest part is trying to do homework or work with children being so demanding. And I would say that's another thing that popped up in the questions for this webinar, was how, like, some study tips and some work tips in a noisy and insane home environment. Does anybody want to tackle that question?
Hi, everybody. This is Sharon. I can share like one thing that I do because I have a toddler, and if he sees me, like, I'm his, right? So I've made an arrangement with my partner that there's a few times a day, and it varies depending on if I have online meetings or not, that I take time to actually disappear, whether it's into the bedroom or outside. So I actually remove myself from the situation. And if anything happens, like, he can deal with it. It's okay. There's nothing that I need to make sure that I go do. But it's an agreement that we've come to agree on. Like, yes, that's a good time for me. Yes, that's a good time for him. And then I can go do my thing.
Thank you, Sharon. I like to also add to that. So some of you are still living with your parents. You might have younger siblings, older, it varies. I think also, like, Sharon was talking about, is making an agreement. So having an agreement with your parents and saying, hey, from this time to this time, I'm going to be studying, or I'm going to be in this room, or just really having intentional conversation with your roommates, your family members, to say, you know what, how are we going to make this work, and then give it a try. And if it doesn't work, then maybe making some adjustments moving forward. And that way, it's going to be a new norm, but just really having those conversations ahead of time.
I agree. That goes back to, I think, really being intentional in your schedule, and letting everybody know around you about schedule. I have dogs. Obviously, you can hear them now. So in between, my husband and I try and wrangle the noise in the household, because he's on meetings and I'm on meetings, and it does get to be a lot. But be compassionate with yourself in these times, and do what you can do. So yes, some of the other questions leads to similar things. A lot of distractions in the household, and how to handle distractions. One thing I did was set up like a work area for myself, and this would be different for everybody. I know lots of people have different types of spaces, or they're sharing their bedroom or things like that. And I personally set up a work area in the living room, and and my husband has more of the desk space because he's a computer programmer, so he needs a lot more computer space than I do. And what I did was I, just set up this little kind of lap desk in the living room, and I have my papers out. But when I'm done, all of that goes away. So really being intentional about your space, whether it's in your bedroom or it's in your kitchen table or something like that, when you're done, you need to leave your workspace behind. So if it's just your desk in your bedroom, it's really good to close things down and then go do something else. And that really helps me with distraction, so that I know when I'm in this area, this is my work time, versus, when I'm in my bedroom, that's really my more relaxed time, things like that. When I'm actually in bed, I know lots of people fall into getting, like, trying to get work done actually in their bed, and that's the least likely place to get some work done. If that's all you have, then that's all you have, and you got to make it work. But definitely trying to intentionally set up a work area where you mentally know this is work area, and when I'm done, it's not a play area. Yeah. What else do we have? I think one other common question that I've been getting, if somebody else wants to tackle it, is to how do you adapt to schooling during moments of crisis? So obviously we are in a pandemic, but there might be other times that this would come up, other moments of crisis. We have lots of fires in California. There's lots of other things that can come up that would affect schooling. Does anybody have any good advice on schooling during moments of crisis and anxiety?
Yes, we have questions come up. Depression, anxiety.
This is Sharon. I would like to offer that if you know yourself the best, right? Like if you're experiencing depression or anxiety, I would offer that you reach out to professionals on campus, the counseling services on your campus. And there's also national institutes and associations that are constantly sharing resources about how to stay, how to take care of yourself during this time, because this isn't something that's normal, right? Like there's all sorts of things that we're experiencing during this time. So you have to take care of yourself, and some of these things you need to connect with your professionals and your doctors about, for sure.
I agree. And I think some of those other, taking time for yourself during the day, not too much time, but yes, definitely. I too was feeling, anxious and unsettled in the beginning, and it's gotten a little bit better as I've added more of a schedule to my day, where it feels slightly more normal. I get up and get a workout in, get my commute time in, and then have a full work day that then leads into dinner and a little bit of relaxing or a walk around the neighborhood, and then we get up and do it again. So it's intentional so that I know what to expect from the day. And I think that's really what was personally causing some of my anxiety, was that, you know, I didn't know what to expect from day to day. And those are some of the things that I can control myself. You know, what comes out in the news and things like that, those aren't things that I can control, but I can at least control my expectations of myself and my home environment a little bit.
Thank you for sharing, Nicole. I also like to share for anyone who's asked about, you know, coping with depression specifically during this time, because obviously we're very restricted at this moment. Obviously, you know, on top of what Sharon had shared was, you know, definitely maybe like being more intentional about exercising, engaging in service. So that could be, you know, calling or doing a FaceTime, an elderly person or relative, deliver groceries to an elderly, a relative or a neighbor, play online games, write a thank you note to healthcare workers, you know, write a postcard, drop off extra food or supplies to a local food pantry, read a book for 30 minutes, call or video chat with a friend. So basically just keeping yourself outwardly focused. And that's some of the things that I was reading right now about some ways to handle that and monitor.
Yeah, those are great suggestions. I'm seeing some a few comments that I want to address. One is about, you know, professors are doing things at odd hours, like posting assignments or sending out communications. I mean, I would like to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're probably dealing with a lot of home life too. You know, they probably have kids. They might be homeschooling their kids now and working, and at, you know, midnight, 2 a.m. might be the time when their household is quiet enough for them to focus on their class and get some communications out. So, you know, be compassionate with your professors too. They're also going through very similar things, you know, and our lives have been compounded into lots more things during the day and than before. It's a little bit slightly easier now for me, now that I have a schedule and things like that. But in the beginning, I was working more like 16 hours a day as opposed to my normal 8 hours a day, and just to get everything online and get things out to students that really needed it, and try to put out little mini student fires. You know, some students you know, didn't have access to laptops and internet, and just trying really hard to communicate like that. And so yes, they are going to have odd hours just like you are, and just, you know, definitely keep communication open with them. And then I think I was seeing some things about transfer, you know, about this anxiety around transfer this semester, and how to, in the fall, be engaged with new professors and new friends, and just stay on track when it is, you know, it's unlikely that we're all going to go back to school in a normal way. You know, there'll be school and things will happen differently at different places, but fall is likely to be not traditional and at many campuses. So thinking about how, thinking about the future. I think fear and anxiety around the future. Does anybody have any, Sharon or Annette or Katerina, do you have any comments about schooling in fall?
You know, I think obviously we're all going in this together, and I am noticing that a lot of activities that we would normally do in person are actually being done via Zoom. And I am thinking that obviously there's gonna all the the clubs or any organizations that deal with your specific major. I'm thinking it's gonna go all online. So Zoom, I think, is going to be it. And I think you're just at this point, students, you're going to have to be really intentional about making those connections. It's going to be harder. There's no doubt about it. In person, it's so much easier. But this just means you're going to have to be very, very intentional. You know, office hours with your professor. If you're doing a Zoom and you do those breakout rooms, make sure you get your peers' phone numbers and say, hey, let's connect this week. You're just going to have to really make those an extra effort to make those connections happen. It's gonna really be up to you. It's gonna, you know, this is something I always say at orientation. You're gonna get out of the program what you put into it. It's gonna be the same thing now. It's just gonna take a little bit more effort on your part. And you know, whatever it is that you can get involved in, even if obviously the only option right now is online, do it. Give it a try, you know, you have nothing to lose. I don't know if anyone else wants to add to that.
This is Sharon. Let me just say one or two things to follow up on that, because it's, yeah, that's right. It's all you. So I teach at a quarter school, which means when we started the stay-at-home order, it was a whole new set of classes, right? So instead of having 2 semesters, there's 3 quarters. So we are in the middle of a whole new set of classes, and students had to start with a brand new instructor and a brand new class. And in my experience, what's worked really well is when students have right away in that first week of class sent me an email that said, you know, this is who I am, this is why I'm going to school, this is what I want to do. I'm intimidated about how to do this online, right? Like, and I said, okay, cool. And I made a whole list of tips and tricks and put it on their online work page. Right. But if nobody told me, I might not have put so much stuff there. But I got a couple students who wrote to me, and we've been exchanging emails ever since. Right. How's this working? How's that working? Right. So I know that those students are interested in engaging in that kind of interaction. So it worked out really well. And I saw something in the group chat. Someone asked about how would online lab heavy classes work, like organic chemistry. So a couple things can happen, right? One of those is that we're a stay-at-home order again, so nobody gets to go to school for any reason. And that's where we are right now. We've done all our labs online. So we've had all virtual labs. It's usually an institution decision how they're going to handle that. Another thing could happen, and it could be mostly like a hybrid version, right? So your lecture would be online, but maybe you would go in small groups once a week to do a lab, right? So there's lots of different things can happen, and it's all institutional dependent. It depends on the leadership at the institution. It depends on the faculty at the institution, and resources and funding and so on and so forth. But again, write those emails to your instructors. Just stay connected, right? Like, with students, you would usually talk to your instructors at the end of class, like, this assignment was hard, this was great, I loved this, I didn't like this. Do that via online.
Yeah, I agree. It is not going to be a traditional fall for our labs and things like that. Some may have total online, Our campus is talking about hybrid, so only a small amount of the class would be able to go in each week and perform a lab. So it's likely that kind of schedule, you'd only be able to complete 4 to 6 labs in person anyway because of the offset schedule. Some of the other things that are being discussed is getting kits out to students in a like where they would come pick them up, and they'd be placed in their trunk of their car or something, and then you can perform labs at home. Simple labs, probably not organic chemistry labs, but maybe GChem labs. And you know, so there's definitely some things being discussed all across the country on how to handle that. And I would just for now be expecting that most campuses in fall are likely to have a large online component, and then maybe possibly some in-person component in very small groups. Yeah. Let's see. We have some questions about lack of motivation even to email and stay in contact with teachers and other people. You know, what do you say about staying in contact and even, you know, if I'm barely even able to get some of my work done, how do I stay in contact with my professors as well?
So this is Sharon. I'm reading those in the group chat too. Right, that whole conversation around like, I don't even feel like I'm worthy to write them because I feel like it's an excuse, right? I say, do it anyway, right? It's your education, right? So I would rather see an email from a student a week before class ends that says like, hey, I've been really unmotivated and I just went to a webinar and I'm going to try and get my feet under me, right? Like, I know it might not get me very far, but I'm going to tell you that I'm here now. Okay, cool, right? Like, that might make me go, all right, here, do this work, do this work, do this work. I'll only count it late a little bit, right? I mean, we've got to get each other some slack. So I say you are worth it, right? And I think everybody here would say you are worth it. Totally.
Yes, I agree. You're definitely worth it. And frankly, as somebody that's teaching completely online now, I love hearing from my students. That student interaction is missing in my life very heavily, and I really miss seeing students every day. And I would say right now, the percentage of people that contact me is probably 10 to 15%. I don't have that much contact with students. People are not emailing me or Canvas messaging me all the time. I am not overwhelmed by emails, and I would love to be overwhelmed by student emails. So please, you know, don't feel that you're not worthy or that we won't respond, or that, you know, we're all in this together, as everybody says. And you know, most of your professors are professors because they, especially at community college, because they love teaching. And we really do love students, and we love to hear from you.
Thank you, Nicole, for sharing that. Earlier in the chat today, there was a question. A student emails the professor but doesn't receive a response. So what to do in that case?
Anybody want?
Go ahead, Nicole. Go ahead, Nicole.
Go ahead, Annette. I feel like I've been talking. You go.
Okay, so You know, I think we've all been there where students email, and obviously we have tons of emails, right? And there's times where I don't get to them all in one day. So I do appreciate those students who are very forward and they say, hey, Annette, did you get my email from, oh gosh, thank you so much for reminding me, you know, please know we're not doing it on purpose. For professors or coordinators or directors, whoever's in, you know, coordinating a program and you're trying to reach them, I would just do another follow-up. I mean, it doesn't hurt. If you're emailing the professor 3 times and you don't hear from them, then I think there's something going on. But you send an email, do a follow-up email. You know, Dr. Smith or, you know, Rodriguez, I emailed you the other day, just want to check up on you to see if you got it. Sometimes people miss emails, so just make sure you follow up. And so for my other colleagues, if it gets to a 3rd time and the professor doesn't answer, do you have any suggestions on how the student can go about that?
Yeah, I agree. I think, you know, and some of you might have older professors that I know there's definitely some STEM professors at my campus that, you know, were not very internet savvy before we went to online school, and they have a steep learning curve, you know, and definitely be patient and send more than one email. It's okay to send more than one email because we do want to be in contact with you for sure. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I see the comments about like if they don't get back to you in a few days. That's always my thing. You know, and it works for us too as professionals. You know, the people higher up than us get peppered with emails, and our emails get lost. And I don't hesitate and send another email or 2 emails and say, hey, did you get this? And they're very nice about, you know, emailing back. And so don't be afraid of the multiple emails in this time and in future, you know, when things return. You know, definitely you know, it's a portion of advocating for yourself.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you all, Annette, Sharon, Mercedes, and all of you participants. It has been incredible. Our first community college meeting. We are so excited to finally have it. We're going to have more meetings coming up soon. I also wanted to mention that we recently hosted our Community College Insights to Success panel. So I definitely recommend to you go on YouTube and check out 3 previously community college students who are currently in PhD programs who share their personal stories. It's truly inspirational, and I recommend you to watch it. If you have any additional questions that we couldn't get to or would like to connect with our panelists or one another after this meeting, we invite you to continue the discussion in our online community college network. Follow the link on the screen. If you don't have SACNAS membership, you can sign up for free at the membership.sacnas.org. I hope to see you there. This concludes our first meeting, and I look forward to seeing you next time. And have a wonderful day, everyone. Thank you for participating.